So what's up? What's up? This is JuJuan, broadcasting Detroit Metro, and what I want to talk about today, briefly, is a conversation I've had with a couple partners recently. And the question I've been receiving is, look, why are you going to the B2B training that's taking place this upcoming Saturday? Why are you attending convention? Why are you constantly plugging into workshops and watching presentations and repeatedly attending things where we know you've seen the information, we know you've been exposed to the information, we know you've trained on this information? Why in the world are you continually making this commitment? And then, I've also had the flip side, right? I've had a couple of people come to me and say, well, I'm not going to experience this workshop. I'm not going to experience this convention. I'm not going to go to this seminar. I'm not going to go to this event because I've seen it before already. And I was reading a book, our book of the month, Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And in one of the chapters, it talks about the fact that at the end of the day, look, talent and intellect, to a lesser degree, is cheaper than used toothpicks. It's cheaper than table salt. It really is, right? And the bottom line is everyone has some talent. Everyone has enough intellect. Like, you don't need to be a rocket science to be successful as an entrepreneur. Everyone has a desire to succeed. But the bottom line is not everyone is willing to put in the work. And part of the work is sharpening the saw repeatedly. I thought about it like this, like an Olympic athlete, which is once again referenced in the book, but an Olympic athlete will train for years. I mean, years, 6, 7, 8 years, 361 days, 4 to 5 hours a day to basically win the gold, to win the championship, right? To cross the line first, to put in that epic performance. They're only on the stage, most of them, for what? 2-3 minutes, if that. I mean, sprinters and runners, they are only on the stage for what? 10 seconds or less. And they put in that work to become elite at the thing that they've dedicated their lives to, right? And I really do believe entrepreneurship works the exact same way. And you have to be willing to put in the time. You have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to do the things that actually will help you become elite. And so often I hear individuals say, well, look, I'll practice when I achieve success, right? That's when I'll practice. I try to tell them that that's not really the way it works. Like, people will say, well, I'll read when I have time. And when I have time, read is not something I'm going to do until I have the time to do it. They say things like, I'll learn, I'll sharpen the saw, I'll go to the workshops, I'll go to the repeated classes, I'll go to the events, I'll do these things once I've achieved a certain level, right? And the bottom line is, it doesn't work that way. Right? The things that you are avoiding, the things that you are not doing, the things that you're not investing in, the things you're not committing to are the things that are required for you to get good. These are the things that make you world class. And it's a false expectation that you're going to be compensated world class money or world class income if you're not willing to do world class things. Right? Think about it again. Like, that Olympic athlete puts in work. Most athletes start, number one, when they're like kids, right? So they've been putting in work for longer than people have gone to school. I don't think people realize that about athletes. They've put in the work oftentimes since 6 to 8 years of age. So they've been training, they've been practicing, they've been getting good at their craft for well over a decade. And then they still have more time to go, right? But then what ends up happening is they reach a point where, because of the success, because of the time, because of the investment, they become elite. And, knock on wood, so to speak, they get the break that they need. They get noticed, they get seen, they get acknowledged, right? And then as a result of all that work, they start getting the endorsements. They start getting the compensation. They start getting the speaker engagements. They start, other entrepreneur endeavors start being made available to them because of all the sweat equity they put into it. Well, you know what? I like to think about entrepreneurs the same way. I think we're world-class athletes. Our game is just entrepreneurship. We're not necessarily dribbling a basketball or throwing a football or with a hockey stick or sprinting, a certain amount of time underneath 4 seconds, right? We're not doing that. But the game we play is entrepreneurship. It's a serious game, right? Because if you want to earn serious money, you got to take it seriously. And if you treat your business, if you treat your entrepreneurship endeavor nonchalantly, you're going to get nonchalant money. That's all it is to it. And so that's my response to the question of why are you attending these events? Why are you committing to these things? Why are you reading the book of the month? Why are you attending classes and the spaced repetition of seeing the same thing, listening to the same thing every single time? And I got a different response to that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give it just a bonus and I'm going to wrap up because, I'm getting it in before the kids wake up. I got to run them up to school and then life is going to start making demands. So I got to get this in right quick. So here's the thing too, another tidbit or nugget. We all have a favorite song that we listened to years ago, right? I'm going to assume we all have. Hopefully you have one. A song that you heard. I can think of a lot of different songs that I listened to as a teenager and I listened to in my early 20s, right? And I'll still sometimes search for those songs and listen to them, right? Just to remember, maybe reminisce. And the interesting thing happens. Every time I hear that song that I'm thinking of right now, at different stages of my life, the song lands different. I notice different things. The beat lands different. There's a word or maybe a line or a riff that I didn't really pay attention to. Sometimes even the emotion of the song, it lands different, right? Maybe I thought the songwriter or singer or performer was trying to communicate one thing, but then now I'm like, no, they were trying to communicate something totally different. There was something else totally different going on in their lives when they wrote this song or performed this song, right? And why is that? Did the song change? No, I changed, right? I've grown, I've matured, I've experienced some things. I've gone through some trials and tribulations. I've had some successes and some victories, right? I've changed. And that's what I would also share with you as well. The reason why you reread content, the reason why you revisit workshops, the reason why you revisit meetings, the reason why you revisit educational opportunities when you can is because as you grow and as you mature and hopefully as you progress, right? Because there's nothing worse than seeing a person that's been 30 years of age for 20 years, if you catch my drift, right? Never mature beyond a certain point. So if you're moving forward in life, what ends up happening is things land differently, right? That's the other reason. I'm a different person than what I was when I started my entrepreneur journey 20 years ago. And when I started with the company I'm speaking of now, 17 years ago. So the trainings do land differently. People have had different experiences with our company, with our services, with our products. The landscape has changed in terms of how you market, how you share, how you communicate, right? How you interact with the public. All these things are constantly changing. That's entrepreneurship. There's nothing static about it, right? And I've learned and I understand I have to evolve. And that's the other reason why you do it as well, right? So look, the new broom may know the corners, but the new broom may sweep better, that is, but the old broom knows the corners. At this stage of the game, I want to know the corners, right? I want to know what the hacks are. I want to know what the strategies are. I want to know what the things are that will propel my business forward faster than what it may have grown previously. And that's the only way you get there, right? Just like a world-class athlete. So that's the other seed I would plant with you as well, because at the end of the day, there's really not a hack. There's really not a tactic to this. You get up, you do the things that are required to be successful, which is to be a constant learner, constantly investing in yourself, doing the spaced repetition. It's the mother of all learning, making sure that you're reading so you understand more, you're more knowledgeable, you're more able, you can go further, you can go harder, you can be of greater service to the people around you because you have more to give. And then making sure that at the end of the day, you're taking your trade seriously. Entrepreneurship is skilled trade. And the only people who win in the skilled trades, really win, who really get it in, are the ones who practice their trade, right? So whether you be a musician, a dancer, athlete, doesn't matter. These are like universal principles. And, once again, that's my response. So that's why I continually plug into events, and I plug into conventions, and I plug into workshops, and I plug into all these different things. And for those who are listening to this and you are making the decision not to invest, hopefully this motivated you, inspired you to understand why you should take the time to invest in yourself as frequently, as often as you can. Don't ever let money be the reason why you don't do something. Don't ever let time be the reason why you don't do something. If money or time is the only reason why you're not doing something, 9 times out of 10, that means you need to find a way to do it. So, that being said, I celebrate success in advance as always. Let's get out here and build taller buildings together. Goodbye for now.